Okay, let's look at 4.3, which is our architectural drawing. And I've got my architectural exemplar open so I can get blocks and dim styles and layers and layouts and things like that from it. And so now I'll open a new file and get it all ready. And here we go. And I've done all of my setup already, right? I've got my workspace set like I showed in the very first day. I'm going to turn off my grid. And there we go, turn off. And I'm going to make sure now that my units are set appropriately. Units. And this is going to be architectural. So I want to change my unit type to architectural and inches. That way, when I type in the foot symbol and the inches symbol, AutoCAD will know what I'm doing. 12 feet, 3 inches, things like that. If I don't type in a symbol, it'll just think it's inches. So I could type in 12 feet with the foot symbol or 144 inches. Okay, so I'm set there, and I don't think I have any fancy stuff to do with decimal with degrees, so I'll leave that alone. So that's in my drawing, remember. My exemplar is just there to get stuff out of. I leave it blank. My drawing happens in my other one. So now I need to save it. So I'll do a save as, and I'll put it in my week 4. Here's my summer 2012. I'll just stick it in here. This is going to be plate 4.3. And I'll put my initials. Now, some of you are putting my initials on your drawings. Your initials go on your drawings. So be careful about that as you go. All right, so now I'm ready to get started. I need a B size layout. So I'm going to go to my architectural layouts, and I'm going to bring in, I'm holding my left mouse button down, bring it in, let go, and now I have an architectural B layout. Okay, and I can get rid of my other ones. Again, that's a matter of personal preference. I like to keep things as simple and easy looking as I can. Here's another thing. If you want to, you can click on that, right click, and rename it, and maybe name it floor plan, something like that. So now back to my model. I'm pretty sure I need layers in here. So let me get my layers in here, and I can take them all, but I can also look at it. I know I'm going to need windows, and I'm holding down the control key as I click on each one. Doors, dimensions, I'll need depth points. I kind of need them all. I don't need C, those are civil, but I might need some of these other ones. Let me just put them all in there. I'm just going to highlight them all, hold my left button down, drag it in, and now they all appear. Let me also do something that some of you are forgetting about. I'm going to right click on my line weights and go to the settings, and I'm going to make sure that my line weights read in inches. That way everything's all in the same units. Okay, and I'm going to need a dim style that's architectural. I'm going to do everything on my layout, so I can just use this scale factor 1 because my layout scales everything for me. So I've got scale factor 1. Okay, that should do most of my setup. Maybe I want to make sure I've got Roman S in there also. Cool. I think I'm ready to draw. So I'm going to pull up my plate. That's what it looks like. And my instructions are to do it in model space. The walls in model space, full scale, and so I'm going to read it as I go. So I think the walls ought to be on the wall layer. That'll be cool. And I'm just going to start at the bottom left and start drawing. And I'm going to start it at 0, 0 just because. And I'm going to go up 12, and I'm going to put the foot symbol in. 12 feet. Double click my mouse wheel. Actually, I'll hit escape, double click my mouse wheel and zoom out. Now I've got things sort of sized on my screen well enough. And then it says go over. You know what else I'm going to do? I'm going to make this a polyline. And you'll see why in a minute. 0, 0. I'm going to go up 12 feet. Over 8 feet. Up 12 feet. And I keep putting that foot symbol, the apostrophe. And then I go over 22 feet. I'm just reading my drawing. Down 6 feet. Over 6 feet. And then I go down all the way till it matches up. So I use my polar tracking. And then I come over to close. And enter. And now that should all be a polyline. That's really cool because my walls, now it doesn't really say, okay? So your wall can either be a 2x4 or a 2x6. A 2x4 is 3.5 inch wide. A 2x6 is 5.5. And mostly in our area, in the Sacramento, California, Northern California region, wood framed walls are 2x6s. So I'll offset 5.5 inch. Offset 5.5. There, I've drawn my external walls. And that's what I'm being asked to draw. But now it says to put in some windows and some some doors and things like that. So I need an external door, and some windows. So I'll show you how I do this. Okay, first of all, let's see if there's already a block for the door. Here's an exterior door. And my door, let me bring that in. Oh, I'm still in my offset command. Let me type escape. There it is. And my door needs to flip around. So in this case, it's a rotate command. Now it's in the right position. And I know this midpoint is 3'6" from the end of the wall. So I'm going to move it so that my midpoint, let me turn on my midpoints, so that my midpoint is right on that corner. Then I can move it exactly 3'6". 3'-6". I did a 3'-6". And it's in just the right place. That's kind of cool. Now on my wall command, I want to draw come on, I know I can get it. There we go. And trim. There, now it looks like a door would normally look. So my next one goes up here. So I'm going to copy. And it goes the other way. In this case, I need to mirror it. So I'm doing all sorts of commands. So I'm going to mirror this thing. I don't care where I mirrored about so long as it's straight. Erase the other one. Yes, there we go. And I'm going to do that same process. I'm going to move it. And this time, I'm going to do another little bit that I know about. That exterior doors, if they're not centered, they're usually 3 inches over. So I'm going to move it 3 inches. And that's because they do what they call double stud. They put 2 flat studs to help frame the door. So now I've got my exterior doors. Now I want a 60-60 window. Let's see if I got a 60-60 window in. I've got a 60-60 window. This is why these exemplars are cool. They often have a lot of useful blocks. So I'm going to hold my mouse down and bring it in. That goes 8'6". So let me move it so that this midpoint is right on this outside. And then I'll move that. And I can click anywhere and go sideways 8'6". And it's just in the right spot. Now, normally we draw that. So I'm going to draw a line down. Sometimes it depends on who you're working for. But often these are drawn so that this midpoint is on the midpoint. And then I can trim. So there's a little bit of work to do there. That's often how they're drawn. If you draw it all the way up to one edge or the other, that's actually okay with me. Okay, but now I've got a few more of those to put in, but I'm going to let you, well, I'll put in one more. I'll put in the 30-60, and then you just know you have to read the drawing and put them in there. So now I get a 30-60 in there. Put the midpoint where it belongs. And this one moves 5. And I'm a typer. You can't see me typing 5 feet. You don't see me typing everything. But however you want to do the command. Like I just hit enter, enter to repeat a command. And I just typed move. And I hit TR because I'm more of a typer. I have my right hand on the mouse and I type with my left hand. Personal preference. Okay, so that's, and you would put in the rest of the windows. Okay, you skip the walls, interior walls, and skip the furniture, skip the interior doors. So that's sort of your drawing part of it. And if I turn it on, it looks a little bit heavy, but that's okay. We can adjust that later on because we'll get good at that kind of stuff. Oh, and let's see. I think I need to draw my little wall things here. Now I'm going to show you another thing that's kind of funny because I brought in that door. That door says it's on the wall layer. I want it on the door layer. I'm going to show you why in just a minute. And this door should be on the door layer. So once you've got all your stuff in, you want to go back and make sure, and I can catch multiple ones at once. Those ones go on the window layer. That's because later on, it might turn out that somebody wants to turn off the windows and just see the walls and turn off the doors. Somebody might want to see that. So make sure things are on the right layers. Okay, I'm going to go to my floor plan now. And now it's my depth points layer so that I can make a viewport that doesn't plot. Go to my little layout button, layout, rectangular, and make it show up. Okay, and let's check my scale now. I'm going to go to my model. So I'm in my layout, but I want to look at the model. And it's something I don't recognize at all. I'm going to guess that 1/4 inch equals a foot is a good scale. There it is. And that should give me room to put dimensions on. So I did 1/4 inch to a scale. I kind of panned, and I'm going to lock it and go back to paper. Remember, your model goes in model space. Your title block is on your piece of paper. Dimensions are on your piece of paper. Notes are on your piece of paper. And since we're talking about notes, let's go back and look at these blocks and see if there's a general notes. There is a general note one. So I can put it on this page, but I'm going to tell you, usually for architects, notes and tables and things like that go on what's called a cover page. So we're going to skip the general notes here. We'll put them on a cover page in another assignment. Okay, so there we go, back to the home. So now I'm ready to put dimensions on. I'm going to show you something about how the dimensions work. The ones that are nearest to the building identify windows. And you go from an exterior usually to one, or maybe an internal wall. You can go from exterior to center point, and then you can go to center point, center point, center point. That's okay to do. So the most closest ones are windows. Then you've got interior walls, which you don't have. Then you've got the exterior shape. And then on two sides, a horizontal and a vertical, you do an overall. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm on my dimension layer. Now watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to do linear dimensions, and I have to check and see how they're going to look. So I go to my annotation. Those are going to be standard. I don't want standard. I want architectural scale factor 1. That's why I brought them into. And you know what else I'm going to do? I'm going to save my drawing before I accidentally lose something. Okay, so the first thing to put in are windows. So it's from the exterior to the center. And I just put it a little ways away. And then I do the same thing the other way. Click. And now to line them up, I use my O snaps. Those have to be in line with each other. And it's okay if it just says 5 feet instead of 5 feet 0 inches. Later on, I'll show you if you need to be able to change that. We don't need to do that now. Okay, so next one, interior walls, the doors line up on the next one. So I'm going to go from the end to the midpoint of my door. I'm going to move it to there. And then I'm just going to move up a ways. And it kind of gives me a snap-in line that spaces things nicely for me. So if you can get that snap-in line, that's really cool. And if you don't, that's okay. But I'm going to go measure it on the other one. And now I do my exterior shape. So I need to know how far it is from the wall to this outside. See how it kind of, if I grip on this one, I go up and it goes kind of gives me a little bit of a snap into place. There we go. And you just want them to look kind of even. Now remember, mechanically, we wouldn't put this last one in, but we are going to put this last one in. That's how architects do it. And then we've got an overall. So that's the basic process. Now I'm only showing you part of it. There, it snapped in. I expect you to do all the dimensions that are appropriately shown on the plate. That means there's going to be dimensions on this bottom wall. There's going to be dimensions over here. There's going to be dimensions over here. If this is all you do, you are not going to get a complete drawing grade or technically correct grade. Okay? You need to do all of the dimensions that are shown. Okay? And so that's, once all your dimensions are in, that's pretty good. We just want to fill in the title block. ATT edit. Type A. Oops, I got to get in here. ATT edit. I just typed in that command. And I select it. And then all of a sudden it comes up so that you can just type things in. Scale is 1/4 inch equals 1 foot. File name, plate 4.3-RS. Remember, this should have your initials on it. Architectural or floor plan or what drawing title. I'll type floor plan. And today's date for me is 6/22/23. And class name and number. Class number and name. So DESGN 301 Intro to CAD. There we go. Now see how long that, that looks so terrible. There's two ways you can fix that. I'm going to double click on it, and that gives me another way to fix all this. And I'm going to go to the text properties. See where it says fit? I'm going to change that to left. Should have done that. Floor plan, text options, left. Oh, and width factor should be 1. There we go. Okay, so you need to change both of those things. That's how you change it so it doesn't look quite so goofy. Okay, you can do that on a bunch of these. If they all look like they're spread out too much, you can double click on it and go to the text, change it to left, and 1. This makes it look a little bit better sometimes. Okay? Always do your save. And then that's what you're going to turn in. You're going to turn in this file. If you want to plot it to a PDF, that's good. You know how to do that. All right, so there we go. That is the process for creating an architectural drawing. This will be your very first one.